Okay, so we're showing here the income and substitution effects of an inferior non-Giffen good. So we know that means price and quantity of x are going to move in opposite directions. The fraction being negative means that the numerator and denominator have opposite signs. That means the changes move in opposite directions. So when we say this fraction is negative, we're saying those two things are inversely related. So the price of x goes up, we're going to buy less x. The price of x goes down, we're going to buy more x. We have a downward sloping demand curve. So here's our initial situation. We're at x0, px0, and then the price of x goes up. Our budget constraint rotates in. We can't get as much as we did before. To show that this is a non-Giffen good, we know that a higher price of x is going to have us buying less x. We know the total effect is going to move in that direction. Our new tangency is going to be somewhere to the left of x0 because we're saying higher price of x, we're going to buy less x. Let's show the substitution and income effects and see what that shows us. We know the substitution effect says if x is more expensive, we're going to substitute away from it. Even if we could stay as happy as we were before. Even if we could stay just as happy, drawing a hypothetical budget constraint that has the same slope as the blue one, shifting it out till it's tangent to the original difference curve, saying if we had enough money, if somebody gave us enough money to be as happy as we were before, we still wouldn't consume at point A. We would still move to point B. We'd still move along our original difference curve because x is more expensive now. There are units of x that were worth it before that aren't worth it now. So that's my XS. So that is my substitution effect. I substitute away from x because it's relatively more expensive. Then the income effect says higher price of x, I have less real purchasing power. With less real purchasing power, this is an inferior good. With less real purchasing power, I'm going to buy more x. For an inferior good, these terms are inversely related. Lower real income, I buy more x. So for an inferior good, that income effect is positive. Price of x went up, the inferior good is actually, because it's an inferior good, the income effect is going to actually have me buying more x. I substitute away from it because it's more expensive, but then I end up, my new utility maximizing bundle is going to have more x than it would if I just looked at the substitution effect. Not all the way out past x0, because then it would be Giffen. Then it'd be saying higher price of x, I'm buying more. But it would be something like that. So there's x1. So the income effect moves back in the opposite direction so that the total effect that we see is from x0 to x1. It's from A to C. Price of x goes up, we move from A to C. We move from x0 to x1 measured along the x-axis. But there's two things going on. We substitute away from x because it's relatively more expensive, and then we actually buy more x because our purchasing power has fallen and x is an inferior good. But we don't, this income effect doesn't put us all the way back on the other side of x0 because that would be saying higher price of x. We're consuming more, and that would make us Giffen.